You tell them I'm coming, and hell's coming with me, you hear? Hell's coming with me!
Woo! And hell is coming. Because tonight I have something I want to. I've been talking to a few people and was getting some ideas from people today, namely my friends Rick Wright, Ray Patton, and a few people in the comments section on some of my comments on the community section, that being Adrian Jones, among others. Give me the idea that we just need to talk about college football and how it can be saved, but it won't be saved. And as you can tell right now, I'm getting a little fed up with it. I don't really like the NFL. I used to despise the Dallas Cowboys back in the day, but as you can see, I'm thinking about moving on from college football and just, declaring myself and my fandom for the NFL. Since all these players want to declare themselves and want to make it all about them and be these attention whores and make it the only person really getting hurt in all this is us, the fans, the people that supported the programs forever, put money in them forever. And yet we get disrespected all the time. Hell, even my team, Alabama, the University of Alabama's athletic director, Greg Byrne, I've done a video on this a while back. Greg Byrne coming out and telling us we need to bone up. We need to man up and give more money. Well, gee, Greg, like I said before, we ain't giving enough money by paying for overpriced tickets in the upper deck in 95-degree weather in early September in the upper deck, with a heat index of probably like 110 or 115 degrees, and then $70 to $80 for a hoodie, Greg? That's not enough money? And there's a real simple solution to this, and I've talked about it with my friends off air and whatnot, but I'm going to bring up a few comments from the common Joes and the common Sallys in the know, even more so than all the media talking heads, because y'all are the ones that put us in the know, and y'all are the ones that's being disrespected. So let's just declare ourselves in the NFL. Let's just declare for the NFL, all of us. I'm going to go ahead and pick a team. Right now I'm trying on this Cowboys hat. Never wore a Cowboys hat a day in my life. But I'm wearing one tonight. But I'm going to put my other Cowboy hat on in just a second. I also got a New Orleans Saints hat up there. I'm going to pick me a team. I'm going to make it all about me. Me. That's what these players do. And there's only one way to stop them. Only one way. And I'll get to that in just a second. Let's present this real quick. Show y'all what's being said to me. This is from Adrian Jones. He says, how about college football is just semi-pro football, and it sucks. That is ruining it. No loyalties to the programs, just who pays me more. Can't build programs because if a freshman doesn't start right away, he leaves the program. It just don't see an end in sight. Maybe a cap on how much teams can spend was what Adrian Jones said. And yes, that is one of the many ways that we can curb this, but will it curb it completely? Probably not. Sadly, probably not, Adrian, because they don't give a shit about us. They don't care about us, brother. They don't. It's already evident. Them and their stupid ass attention whore relatives on the side, their parents and their cousins and their uncles and their aunties, all wanting to get that dime before they go to the NFL. Everybody wanting to get in on their own kids, living vicariously through them. But that was from Adrian Jones. See who's in the house already. Adrian Jones was the first one in here. It's going to be a long off season waiting for college football to come back. I might as well watch Gunsmoke and drink Jaeger. Might as well. I'm going to put my original Cowboy hat back on. Now that y'all see the team that I may be considering going to when I leave college football. Because at least with the NFL, at least with the NFL, they have rules in place. I used to hate the NFL because of some of the stuff a lot of their little diva players do. But at least they have rules in place. At least they stay at least around 3 to 4 years sometimes. Whereas these players now in college, if they don't get their way, they leave in the middle of the year. You had last year, Alabama's Caden Proctor left after the season, went to Iowa for 2 or 3 months and came back to Alabama. And then you had Bear Alexander of the USC Skittle Shitters just up and leave in the middle of the year. Couldn't happen to a better person, but nonetheless, the principle of the matter here is this: they shouldn't be able to do that. It's giving them an unrealistic view of how things are going to be in the chosen field of work that they're striving for. They're striving to be an NFL player, right? So if you want to be an NFL player, you have to go by NFL rules, and you have to go by adult rules. If you want to be paid adult money, you need to go by adult rules who make adult money. You don't see the math professor at the University of Alabama making less money than most of his students. Now, there may be an outlier or two where you can be a smart ass about and say, well, this person does. Sure. But for the most part, the teacher or the boss makes more money than their employees or their students. Same thing with college football. College football is supposed to be a training ground for the NFL, no matter what people say. That's what it is. And if you're in the middle of training for something, it's just like, being an understudy, being a law student and going to court. You don't get paid more than the lead lawyer, and players shouldn't get paid more than the coaches. You know what I'm saying? Let's see what else is in here. We got Texas Hook'em in the house. What's up, Outlaw Hook'em? Might not be hooking them much longer, brother. Maybe hooking on out. No more college football for me next year. If they don't get this shit changed within the next 2 years, I'm probably not going to be watching college football anymore. I'm going to be doing other stuff. I'm already going to change the name of this channel probably from the Outlaw of College Football to Outlaw of the Common Folk. That way we can talk about everything. I was under that name before, and I'm going to go back to it now here in about a week. I'm probably going to take off a week in early February, so y'all don't be thinking that I left and I'm shutting the channel down. I'm going to take a vacation in early February. But I want to come in here in this late part of January and get this off of my chest, so to speak. Sergeant Lincoln Osiris says the star looks awful. You don't want me to be a Dallas Cowboy? You want me to be a New Orleans Saints? I'm going to probably get a couple more teams. I'm going to take my time, and I'm going to make little visits. Not really, but I'm going to make online visits to these teams' websites and their fan bases and see what they're all about. And I'm going to go back to the NFL. I used to watch the NFL when I was a young kid in the 1980s. I was a Jim Plunkett fan of the Oakland Raiders when I liked them. They were the Oakland Raiders, and it was Jim Plunkett, and then what's his name? Damn, slipped my mind. Shit. What was the running back's name at the Los Angeles Raiders? I got fired up tonight, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. Marcus. Anyway, Lyle Alzado. Players like that, man, I used to love me some Raiders. Love their helmets. Their helmets just made you think of the heel and wrestling, the bad boys, that kind of deal. But, yeah. See what else is in here. Adrian Jones is still in here. He says, I'm having a hard time with the NFL. I'm a lifelong Redskins fan, for my team don't exist anymore. Exactly. The Commanders, I can't root for them until they change back, Adrian. And from what I'm hearing, they are going to change back to the Redskin name. They're going to bring back the logo because the Native American nations around here that were associated with that, there was some tribe that was associated with that logo. It was the caricature that was done of one of their chiefs. They're very much pissed and insulted. Most Native Americans took it as an honor that an organization would want to name their team after their people. If someone wanted to name their team after some of my ancestors, I don't know, like, let's say, the Fighting Irish. There's somebody named the Fighting Irish, right? Now, why ain't they pissed off about that? That's what I'm saying. Double standards, bunch of BS, trying to deflect, trying to take our attention off of certain things, some of these crooked-ass politicians. And I'm not just talking about Democrats. I'm talking about Republicans, too. All of them. Every single one of them. Need to do away with political party labels. That's another rant for another day. But you need to do away with political party labels because all it does is make corrupt loyalty. That's it. Marcus Allen. Appreciate it, brother. I'm getting old. I can't even remember Marcus Allen. I did remember Lyle Alzado, though, didn't I? Corrections 101 is also in the house. Hey there, Outlaw. What's going on, brother? just getting in here ranting. And let's go ahead and get to the gist of it. And I'm going to go ahead and give y'all the answers, what we need to do to save college football. It's not going to happen, but it's what needs to happen. But before I get to that, let's show the other screenshot that was sent to me by my buddy Rick Wright. Another Common Joe and Common Sally in the know. All right. There it is. Make sure y'all can see it. All right. I'll watch college games, and Paul's probably right. They call me Paul around here, by the way. That's my middle name. I'll probably watch more NFL now, too. My heart's just not in it any longer. There's no more pride, spirit, home team, no loyalty anymore. Sad, really. R.I.P. college football. So as you can see, it's not just me, and it's not just one area of the country. Rick's from Alabama. Adrian, not sure where you're from, brother, but I know you're not probably from Alabama. But people all over are saying the same damn thing. They're sick and tired of this shit. They're either going to have contracts or it's just going to go by the wayside. And I don't even know if that's going to help. Because at that point, it becomes minor league baseball. Does anybody watch minor league baseball? Not really. Not really. If you're not playing Major League Baseball, nobody cares. And that's what's going to happen in college football eventually, unless they do one thing. All they got to do, and this is going to sound very simple and naive, but it's the simplest thing to do, is just stop paying these players, man. You don't see math students getting paid enormous amounts of money. Sure, they might get some kind of stipend or some kind of monetary award for winning some kind of scholarship or something, but they're not getting paid $200,000 or $300,000 at one time. You know, you don't see English students getting paid by the university for making great grades or doing great in English. They don't deserve it, man. And people are like, well, they're going to sue you. They're going to sue you. Well, they can sue. Let them sue. They can just go play somewhere else. The NFL, let the NFL create a semi-pro farm system themselves. Don't let our universities do the work for them. We're doing the work for them. Our universities are doing the work for the NFL. They haven't got to set up shit. They're just saying, hey, we'll just let these people go at it. And once we get ready to take their players, we will. Now, Paul Feinbaum come out and said something the other night about they need to just go ahead and start letting players come straight out of high school into the NFL, and if they don't like it, sue it. Paul Feinbaum I used to like. Now I'm sort of really losing a lot of respect for him, because it seems to me all he likes is just, complete negativity and bad shit to happen to college football, because it makes him more popular the more bad things happen to people. He really eats and loves for people to have a bad time. And I can't deal with it anymore, Feinbaum. So you can go to hell, man. Now on out, you can KMCA. I'm not going to listen to any more of your shit, man. Talking about college football should get sued. We're already having problems with that already. Being afraid of being sued. If you don't want to hire somebody, if you create a business and you decide, hey, I don't want to pay this person X amount of dollars because it's going to hurt my business, or they're just not worth it right now. They haven't proven themselves. You're allowed to do that. So why in the hell wouldn't college universities be able to do the same thing without being sued? They allow them to be sued. I'll just be like, hey, that's fine. I'll just shut it down, and we'll just go out and get people that just want to play football for the love of the game. But they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. Ever. The Blue Bloods. Me, I'm a fan of a Blue Blood. I'm a fan of Alabama. Been a fan of Alabama since I was old enough to understand football. They've been paying players, Alabama, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Texas, Michigan, Ohio State, Notre Dame. They all been paying players since the 1920s. The only difference now is they got a transfer portal now that allows you to just transfer whenever you want to, and they're not binded by having someone tell them if they do leave, they got to set out a year. They don't have that deterrent anymore. So now it's a lot different, see? And that's the only way they're going to stop it, is for the Blue Bloods to get together, the ones I just named or just a few, for them to get together, Alabama, Oklahoma, Ohio State, Michigan, Notre Dame, all those big name schools, USC to some degree, they need to get together and say, hey, we're not going to pay them. Just don't pay them. Make them come in there and earn their shit just like all the other students out there. Yes, I know football is a more dangerous avenue of getting a degree. You're getting a degree in physical education, or getting a degree in college football and going on to the NFL. Your body takes a lot more abuse and all that good stuff. I understand that. But that's the path you chose. You don't see firefighters and police officers getting X amount of dollars over other people because their job's more dangerous, even though they should. Police officers, military, firemen, they take a lot more abuse and a lot more danger than these football players. The football players are probably the closest thing to military and police and stuff like that as far as taking danger and stuff like that in their chosen profession. I'll give you that. But for basketball players and baseball players, give me a break. Come on now. But that's the only way to stop it. And it's not going to happen. So college football is going to become a shell of itself, I'm afraid. That's what I'm afraid of. But I'm going to do something about it. And y'all should too. Y'all should declare yourself for the NFL only. And until they do something different, set up a system that seems more fair, where teams aren't tampering and players aren't leaving in the middle of the year, I would just stop watching until they remedy the situation. It's going to be hard. It's going to be damn hard. But it looks like it's what I might end up having to do. I'm going to take a look back at it this year. I'm going to go through this next season probably and see how things pan out, see what they do to get things corrected. And if it don't come to my liking, then come 2026, my ass is going to be NFL only. Just Lonesome Darkness said they started this shit to stop Alabama. Alabama's always adapted and won under any format. This is true. Lonesome Dove is preaching truth. Called you Lonesome Dove, man. Thinking of that Western, man. I want to go in there and watch a Western right now rather than watching this college football, man. Lonesome Darkness is speaking the truth. Alabama's won national championships under every imaginable format known to college football. Back in the day, with the Rose Bowl, that was considered the de facto BCS national championship back then because the Rose Bowl wasn't tied with just two conferences at that point, and most reputable media outlets recognized the Rose Bowl winner as the national champion. So people try to come in and say, well, those don't count. Yes, they do. They don't count to you because you didn't have any. It's not Alabama's fault that, say, someone like Tennessee never was good enough to go and get invited to the Rose Bowl. Wasn't Alabama's fault. Just saying. And then the AP poll, UPI poll, which ended up being the coaches' USA Today poll later on, that was the poll error. And the poll error would have probably ended a lot quicker had the Rose Bowl not tied up two conferences, and then all the other conferences had to tie themselves up with bowls. So for about 60 years, we had that, which sucked. And then we had the BCS era where the BCS formula chose two teams. Alabama and LSU made it one year, and they started losing their bowels, went all spastic, and decided to invite four teams. Then more SEC teams started getting in. Now that they're 12, and more SEC teams keep getting in. They're not winning it right now, but it's only the first year. Eventually, that will come about. The SEC's had a little bit of a lull. They haven't won a national championship in the last 2 years. But that's just 2 years. Some conferences go decades without winning national championships. So, temper and break. Put the brakes on your SEC hate out there, SEC haters. Hate to break it to you, but it's just a 2-year little window. Once you can keep the SEC out of it, maybe half a decade, 5 or 6 years, get back with me then. But, I just wanted to jump in here real quick and get that off my chest and let y'all know where I think college football is headed in the future and where I'm headed in the future. I'm probably going to change the name of this channel to Outlaw the Common Folk shortly, and we'll talk about whatever the hell y'all want to talk about in the future. We can talk about NFL football, the Super Bowl, probably Probably not going to talk about the NBA. I hate the NBA. But I will talk college basketball. I love college basketball, March Madness. We can talk about that. We can talk about worldly matters. We can talk about, is P. Diddy going to meet the same fate as Epstein? Because they might try to shut him up because he probably knows a lot of stuff on people. We can talk about politics. We can talk about religion. You want to talk about what it's like to be a Buddhist and why we should be a Buddhist. We'll even talk about that. Just hit me up on Twitter, a.k.a. X, at OCF Productions in DMs, and give me some thoughts, give me some ideas for a show. Maybe even want to be on the show, because I do have Common Joes and Common Salads on this show because they put us in the know, and that's what this show is all about. KMCA, all the other teams, class is now officially dismissed.